Vegeta, one of the most iconic characters in not just Dragon Ball history, but in all of anime history. Let's not stand on ceremony here, guys. We know why you clicked on this video, and we know why I wanted to make this, because of our love for this character. Today, we will be uncovering the truth behind the psychology of Vegeta's mindset, why he turned to Majin, and what the Majin arc actually represents. Through this exploration, we will also find all the great reasons why we love Vegeta. Without further ado, let's get into the story of the Prince of All Saiyans. First and foremost, to understand Majin Vegeta's psychological mindset, we need to take a look at the background of Vegeta. He is the prince of the mighty warrior race, the Saiyans, who are very prideful and hell-bent on fighting. The importance of strength is very prominent within the Saiyan race. His story starts when he comes to Earth one day to fight the Z Warriors and he meets Goku. We will hit on Goku in a little bit, but first, let's go a little bit more into Vegeta's background and who he is as a character. So, throughout the series, Vegeta is portrayed as a ruthless, prideful warrior, always has a chip on his shoulder, very cocky. From the destruction of his home planet, he becomes Frieza's henchman until eventually he becomes a kind of good guy on the Z Warriors team, and he is portrayed as an anti-hero. As the anti-hero, he is a very arrogant character, but he also has a lot of complexity to him. He's struggling with these inner demons, and he's conflicted between his desire to become the strongest and also to protect his family and loved ones. He doesn't show that he cares too much, just little glimpses throughout the show. We see it. We see the good inside of him. But this struggle is what eventually contributes to him turning Majin. Also, as you guys all know, if you've seen the series, Vegeta is one of the most hard-working warriors in existence and will do almost anything to achieve new heights of power. That is, until he meets Babidi and is willing to sacrifice his own soul to get his objective. But I digress for now. Now, we will dive in to the rivalry between Vegeta and Goku. The rivalry between Vegeta and Goku is almost the entire catalyst for why Vegeta becomes Majin. And we need to understand where that rivalry stems from and what it represents. So, the rivalry starts with the first fight that Goku and Vegeta have, where Goku bests Vegeta. And what destroyed Vegeta about this was that it was a low-class Saiyan warrior that beat him, a common soldier, if you will. And Vegeta just cannot fathom it. He couldn't understand and comprehend how such a low-born warrior beat him in battle. And this crippled Vegeta's pride so much because of the way that he was raised on the Saiyan homeworld. They had a caste system. There was different tiers of different people that basically represented who was the best, who was at the top of the chain, and who was the low-level common warriors. So it didn't make sense to him. From this fight forward throughout the rest of the series, the rivalry between the two characters is very present. But the rivalry itself doesn't always have a very negative, vengeful spirit to it. There is a lot of interactions between these two characters that represent some of the most memorable moments in the entire series. And there's also like a deep respect and admiration between the two. Like, even Vegeta has a respect for Goku, but he still uses Goku to try to get the upper hand, to try to increase his strength. He just always usually happens to be the second fiddle. Even if Vegeta does get stronger, Kakarot ends up surpassing him in one way or another. And this darkens Vegeta's mindset. This troubles him all the time. He just doesn't understand it. However, one good thing that comes out of this rivalry is the push that Vegeta receives to train harder and to reach new limits. As you can maybe pick up by now, Vegeta is a very egotistical character. And what Kakarot did was damage his ego. And not only Kakarot did that, but Frieza, the piece of shit emperor, treated him like shit his entire life, destroying his ego and his pride. Then we had Cell best him. We had Trunks come back from the future and become a Super Saiyan before Vegeta did, which damaged his spirit. And then on top of all of that, Goku's son, Gohan, became a Super Saiyan 2 and was stronger than everyone. And this destroyed Vegeta. And before we get into the next part, think about the repercussions that these events had on Vegeta. He's a guy already born very prideful, and he is tormented and controlled by some lunatic emperor. He also gets bested by a low-class Saiyan warrior. He then gets bested by his son from the future for a short time when he first comes back. Then the next major villain in the series bests him too and makes a fool out of him on the battlefield after achieving his perfect form. And then the son of the guy that first bested him when coming to that planet ascends past him and every other character in the show. Imagine what that did to his ego, to his pride, and how he thought that he wasn't worthy enough. He thought he wasn't good enough and that he just wasn't strong enough. He's the prince of all these Saiyans, mind you. So in his head, he's supposed to be the strongest Saiyan warrior, right? If you're the king or the prince, you think you're the best, that you're at the top of the food chain, but all these other characters are besting you left and right. So of course he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Of course he's going to have anger and hatred inside. Next, on top of all the events that I've described so far, we have Goku's sacrifice against Cell. And we all know that this happened. And we know that Vegeta felt some type of way. You can remember from the scenes. But let me tell you why he felt some type of way. Think about this. All Vegeta wanted was a rematch with Goku. And Goku dies. First of all, Vegeta's sad that he died and he won't ever get the rematch that he wanted. But then, think about his failure. He failed not once, but twice against Cell. One in his first initial fight with him when Cell became perfect, and then again during Trunks' death. Like, imagine that. He failed twice. Goku's son surpasses him and does what he cannot, and then Goku sacrifices himself and does one of the most selfless, noble things. Again, this is something that Vegeta's mind in the moment can't comprehend and just feels a void, feels lost. And now he'll never get to prove his worth. And to elaborate at Vegeta's psyche in this point of time, think of the things that we went over. He's lost. He feels like a failure. He feels not good enough. Think about how you feel as a person when you have those feelings inside. You feel hopeless. You feel terrible. You can't even barely move. And think about this. Before he turns Majin, he has to go through 7 years of this mindset. And it's honestly a surprise that he eventually picked up training again and trained for 7 straight years. But within those 7 years, Vegeta is a ticking time bomb. And with the presence of Majin Buu emerging and Goku returning to Earth for 24 hours, his chance to settle the score finally arises. And here we have the start of the Majin Vegeta arc. As we all know, Kakarot returns to Earth 7 years after the destruction of Cell, and he's only there for 24 hours to participate in the World Tournament. Now, the Supreme Kai debuts his entrance and warns the Z Warriors of the threat of Majin Buu. Now, during the tournament, Babidi has henchmen there, Spopovich and Yamu, who increased their power dramatically from the last time that they were at the tournament. And Vegeta peeps on this. He notices, and he sees what Babidi's magic had done for them. So he decides to go under Babidi's spell to receive a power boost to be able to finally combat Goku and settle the score once and for all. Now, sidebar. You guys probably know this from other YouTubers, but just wanted to point out, for the purpose of this video, he already could become a Super Saiyan 2. He can reach that level of transformation. He just needed Babidi's spell to get a literal power boost on top of the Super Saiyan 2. And this is because he saw Goku's fight with Yekan at Babidi's spaceship and felt Goku's true power. And he realized within that he couldn't match it still, even with his Super Saiyan 2 form. So, I digress on that. Let's get back to the actual story. First of all, let's break down what it means for Vegeta to take a spell, to go under the control of somebody else. Again, remember earlier, I said that he was willing to almost do anything to achieve new heights in power. Almost, key word. It's not until Goku is back for just those 24 hours that anything becomes a reality, and he literally sacrifices control of his soul and body to Babidi. And that's where that famous quote comes. You might have taken control of my mind and body, but there's one thing a Saiyan always keeps, his pride. Which is a testament to his power and his rage, right? He is able to overthrow Babidi's control and just get the power boost. Babidi has no real control over him. And this is because all that anger, all that depression, all that hatred inside him from all those events we talked about earlier over the years festered up in him over the last 7 years. And now Goku's back again for just those 24 hours. He's like, this is my chance. I will do anything. I will go under Babidi's control. And guess what? That's not even going to control me. I don't care about the threat of Buu. I don't care about family and loved ones being in trouble or their lives being threatened. I just want to fight Kakarot. Another event of the Majin Vegeta arc that I'd like to elaborate on is at the World Tournament after Vegeta becomes Majin. You see him killing countless civilians and not caring at all. It's like Vegeta had to kill those people just to prove to himself that he returned to the way he was before, an evil, ruthless bastard. But that's not the case, right? We know the reality that there was good in him throughout this whole arc and throughout the series. But look at what the anger and the frustration dwelled up inside of him did to him and made him do. It's understandable why he became so enraged, you know? Like, this is psychology 101. If you're damaged from a kid growing up over and over and over again and feeling that you're not good enough and that you're controlled by everybody and you're living in everybody's shadow, eventually you're going to rage out. And that's essentially what happens here. And he needs to prove to himself that I am back. I care about nothing and no one besides my strength and destroying Kakarot. Which we all find out later on is not the real case with this character. But again, I digress. So Goku and Vegeta, they go ahead and have their rematch. And just as a sidebar, it's a beautiful fight, right? I think the animation is really spot on, especially in the later episodes towards the end of that fight. But the big takeaway is the dialogue between the two characters. And essentially, Goku is calling Vegeta out, telling him that he still loves his family, that he knows he made a mistake, asking him if it was worth it. And Vegeta continues to lie to himself and to Kakarot, saying, it is. I don't care about those emotional attachments. My only objective is you. But as we all know, and for everyone that has seen the show, that is not the case. So now we're about to get into the big enchilada. And really, so towards the end of the fight, they start picking up on Buu's level of evil and power, that is. And Vegeta finally agrees to postpone the fight and let's go take care of Majin Buu. Well, he knocks out Goku because he doesn't want Goku taking all the glory for himself. And the more important thing is Vegeta wants to do something good. This is the real start in this arc of his path to redemption. So, Vegeta goes to fight Majin Buu, and in the beginning seems to have the upper hand, is basically kicking the shit out of Majin Buu. But then Buu starts to kick his ass, and he is basically knocked out until Trunks and Goten go to wake him up and help him out a little bit. And I think him seeing his son, right, I think that kind of woke him up a little bit more, and he was finally ready to let go of all the pain, and he was willing to show a good heart. I mean, we see him hugging Trunks for the first time ever. He even says that that's the first time that he's held him since he was a baby. And then we see the ultimate sacrifice, I think, in almost all shows in their history. I don't know about you guys, but for me, Vegeta's sacrifice is one that still hits me in the heartstrings to this day. That whole scene is beautiful, and his screams, and I don't care if you're watching in the English dub, the Spanish dub, the Japanese dub, his screams are so powerful, and you could feel the pain inside of his voice, right? And I mean, obviously, yeah, pain because it hurts for the self-destruction, but also all the inner demons that he's had over the years. He's finally letting go of them. He's expunging them. And he's fighting for everyone else. I mean, he even says right before he does the sacrifice, listen to the words. He's doing this for Trunks, Bulma, and even his rival, Goku. He is done living in hatred. This sacrifice and what it represents, I think, along with everything else we've covered thus far in the video, is truly why we love this character so much. He is so complex, and he's had so much character progression throughout the series, more so than probably every other character, to be honest. Think about it. This is an anti-hero that started off as a villain and has had his pride crushed time and time again, and his psyche mind destroyed and haunted by these other characters always besting him. And it was no wonder that he decided to go back to evil, right? I mean, he was in a lot of pain. But what makes this sacrifice the ultimate redemption for him is that he did the most heroic thing, and he wasn't a hero. He didn't come as a hero into the show. He was a villain, and he showed the biggest act of heroism possible. And now we realize that deep within, he is a hero. He is a good guy. And I think this Majin Vegeta arc is really what showed us as fans that he is that hero. And I think it's a moment, and all of his moments we'll remember for the rest of time. By the end of Z, we're not going to cover Super that much. Vegeta is a changed man. I think he needed all those bad events in his life, all those egotistical blows, all those times of rage and hatred and sadness. He needed that to get to the state of mind that he's at the end of Z and in Super, right? He needed to be brought down and broken to his knees so he could rise back up. During the fight with Kid Buu, we see him finally forgiving Goku and recognizing his number one. We see him throughout just even Z before Super achieve new heights of power, and in Super now look at him, now he's basically on par with Goku. And let's not forget the family that he created with Bulma. I mean, he loves Bulma and Trunks to the end of the world. Look at how he was in Super when Bulma was carrying Bra. He's very protective, and he has an awesome relationship now with Goku. Yeah, they're still rivals, and there's definitely competitiveness between them two, but it's not like how it was during the Majin Vegeta arc or even before that. He has progressed both as a man and as a warrior. Just reflecting on this video thus far, I think the reason that we resonate with Vegeta so much, or we like Vegeta so much is because we see ourselves within him, right? I mean, how many of you have felt not good enough or always trying to better yourselves and you guys want to be the best? I mean, I can tell you I've had those feelings. Shit, I always want to be the best at everything I do. Now, I'm not saying that I would do what Vegeta did, but my point is that he is a very relatable character. And within that show, within the context in that universe, it's understandable why he did what he did. Now, it is time to go ahead and wrap up this video. I appreciate you all staying on for the last 20 minutes. I know it was kind of long, but I wanted this to be real and authentic. Majin Vegeta, you know, like we stated at the beginning, he's a very loved character. He shows power. There's a lot of duality and conflict within his character. He has one of the greatest sacrifices ever. And he has truly created a legacy within universe and even here in the real world. He's an iconic character that I think we are all kind of alike in some way or form. At least if he's your favorite character, I would say so. As proven within this video, he has had a lot of psychological damage happen to him during his life. And I think what it did to him and creating those inner demons has really made him a compelling character. And I would say that his transformation into a hero is truly a testament to the depth of his character and his character development. I'll leave you guys with this. No matter what's going on psychologically in your life, give it your all and do whatever it takes within reason to achieve what you want to achieve. And know, just like Vegeta eventually found out, that you can still have a good heart while doing that too. You guys take care, and I'll see you in the next video. And don't ever forget that Vegeta is the proud Saiyan Prince.